I will get started. So, good afternoon to you, good morning to you, wherever you are. Rich Hunter Rice, and you're here to, as you can see on the screen, how to close your next 3 clients this week. Hey. So, why me? I always start this off, and why am I the one sat at the front of the room, and what right have I got to be here? So, that's me. I haven't got my camera turned on today. I don't want to tempt fate. I would turn it on very briefly, but the lighting where I am is not the greatest, as you can see as well. But yeah, hi, good to see you all. Thank you for joining me. That's me back in days when I used to wear shirts and suits and look a bit smarter, but you know, hey, the world has changed. So I've got a career of over 30 years in sales and marketing. Yep, I know I don't look old enough, absolutely. But trust me, 1987, I've been in employment since. I was in my first role, so yeah, way over 30 years. Everything I've done has been around retail, hospitality, but also IT, various different roles around the UK. I picked a small IT business from 6 million, or 6.2 to be exact, all the way to 48.5 million over a period of 12 years. And during that stint, I managed a team of 125 people. Minerva Growth, the business you are seeing today, was launched back in 2016. So this is our 5th year. Been an amazing 5 years over that period. Business has grown left, right, and centre. We've worked with hundreds of businesses around the world, across 5 continents, in fact, and are currently working with clients in 4 continents. So yeah, just amazing journey we've had. And I thought I'd add this on there. My biggest deal closed to date was £10 million. So 10 million Great British pounds. And that was done while I was in the IT business into the NHS, biggest employer in the UK. And it was a £10 million deal. Not beating it as of yet, I don't think, in hard money. It's very hard to track. There's been some very interesting deals and opportunities closed since that, but that was one that I could see the PO was raised for £10 million in one go, which I've never seen anything like it before or since, but you know, who knows what's in the future. So that's why we're here today. Now, one thing I'm going to come to you at the end, I am looking at the time, so we're 3 minutes in already. I'm aiming to get this done in about 60 minutes or thereabouts. So I will be coming to you at the end and looking for you to take and understand what your biggest takeaways are going to be from this session. So I always suggest you've got a notebook and pen in front of you. Start on a clean page, put a 1 at the top left-hand corner, halfway down the page, put a 2, and then right at the bottom, put a 3. And as you get those aha moments, those things that open your vision around the sales process, I'd like to know what they are at the end. That'd be really, really useful for me. So be prepared to be interactive. So your 3 goals from today are: I want to make you think differently about sales process, the sales process that you do, the way you sell, the way you engage with your clients, customers, prospects, and the way you just process that whole thought process. I want to get you to focus every day, each week, on growing your business, and you'll understand exactly why as we come over the next few slides. And I also want to empower you to increase your revenues. So many business owners. Take a step back a second. The reason this training came about and why we're doing this today is so many conversations in business owners complaining that their business is not where they want it to be and it's not growing. And then when you start to drill down in, they're actually not doing anything to focus on that growth. They're not spending any activity on business development or on selling. They're not spending any time at all in front of prospective new clients. So, hey, no surprise there why their business isn't growing. Okay, and then most important, I love this quote: knowledge isn't power. It is the application of the knowledge that you learn that is the power. Very, very true. I stick by this all day long. There's no point sitting here for the next 60 minutes or so and doing nothing with the information. It's how you implement it and the steps you take over the next few days, weeks, months in your business that's going to be the real power. Over the last few years, I've invested a load of money and also time into developing my own sales skills, whether it's through coaches or different courses. It is important you take notes, but also I've said, I don't know if I said to all of you now, but this is actually being recorded, and I will be sharing the recording with you over the next couple of days or so. So You've got the recording to watch, and you can go back and watch it as much as you need to, and making sure you're getting the maximum value out of this training course, and that you implement the information that you learn into your business. So my only ask is that you put everything to one side for the next 60 minutes or so. I am humbled by so many people booking onto the webinar. I haven't looked in the last few hours, but I know when I looked at breakfast time this morning, there was over 60 people had registered for the event. So by far, it's the biggest webinar I've done live to date. Everyone on here is going to be at different levels, different experience of sales. But no matter how much you already know or how accomplished you are in sales, you are going to learn something new today, whether it's a new technique or something different. So all I ask is that you empty your cup, fully focus on the next 60 minutes, invest yourself into this session so that you can take as much knowledge as you possibly can from this session. So let's go. Sales is 80% psychological. It's 20%, only 20% is the actual mechanics of sales. So how you think about it, how you feel about sales is massively, massively important. It's all about how you think about the process, then having the best experience or technical training behind you. The most successful businesses out there right now are the ones that can afford, and the ones that are investing the most in their marketing, in their adverts, their pay-per-click, all that good stuff. But also the businesses that are making the most phone calls. There's no rocket science here. They are putting themselves in front of more people on a more regular basis. And guess what? They're selling more. So how does this picture make you feel? We only have a limited time today in this session, and we have a lot of information to cover. I think there was something like 45 pages in the planning for this session today, and I'm trying to condense it into 60 minutes. There's only so much I can get you through. The workshop is designed to help you close more deals, get more sales, and there's no reason why you can't close your next 3 clients by the end of this week. From creating this workshop, it's hit me exactly how much information I could be sharing, but also how limited so many people's knowledge really is of the sales process. So the one thing that's coming out the back end of this is going to be an entire series of sales workshops coming out for my clients in the very near future. But this workshop today is aimed at all levels of experience, from basic to advanced sales. Advanced sales is all about being relevant and being up to date. The old sleight of hand techniques, the mirroring and matching, are all way, way gone. They are dead, and I hope firmly in the past. So the image you can see in front of you, this is the problem with sales, is this is how so many people think about sales. It's sleazy, it's quite pushy, pressurized. Always the salesman or salesperson is always pushing for the yes, and they're looking to close the deal at any cost, whatever it takes. This also makes people feel, in turn, uncomfortable with the way they sell. Now, it's all about being you. It's all about being authentic and being true to yourself, and always so. I truly believe that if you cannot tell people what you're doing, it's wrong and it's just not ethical. Don't do it. Advanced selling is learning all about a collection of different skills you can use and call on in any situation. And this is exactly what this training is all about today. Advanced selling isn't a physical system. It's about understanding the situation you're facing and having the right tools that you are equipped with to be able to deal with the situation in hand. And the aim of today is to give you all those skills. So the world is changing faster than ever. I think we can all agree. We have all become professional buyers. We all have so much information now at our fingertips. You know, Google's been around since the late 90s. We've all got smartphones, or the majority of the world have got smartphones these days, and you have the information, so much information at your fingertips at all times. There are 2 things critical to this process, and if you don't make these changes, nothing else that we cover today is going to make a difference to you. So you either believe that you aren't very good at sales, or you may actually believe that you are pretty good at what you do. But I want to offer you a reframe and a different perspective on this, as the word sales doesn't mean anything. It's only the definition that we give to it. Now, if we stop and ask everyone on this webinar right now, give me the definition of sales, I will have as many different definitions as we have people on the webinar and people watching this live or people watching it recorded. This isn't right or wrong. It's just different. So if you don't consider yourself to be very good at sales, I have one simple question. Would you like to be able to help more people? Now, wouldn't you agree that when you get on a call with someone, you meet them face to face, you share your product or your offering, the only way you can truly transform that life is by them saying yes to your service. So it's simple. Don't think about selling. Instead, think about serving or transforming their lives. Sales is not about getting, sales is about giving. So, what do you have more control on in life? What you give or what you get? Think about it. What can you control? Can you control how much you give or how much you get? And this is exactly it. You can't control what you get. Yeah, I totally get you can influence it, but you will always have much more control over what you can give. And by switching this control, it's going to empower you with the ability of being in control always. You will have far more confidence in yourself. And also, it's going to give you something else that we're going to be covering in the next few minutes, which is really, really cool. So start thinking about how you can help more people. So here we go. The real focus here is psychology, which it comes down to the key word that is the state or our state. There are two components before we talk about presenting, which we will do later, but there is something you want to do to prepare and prime your mind before you get on a call or any sales call at all, any activity. Let's use the example that you are a business coach and you are selling a high ticket one-to-one coaching online. And you're probably going to be on a call. It's probably a Zoom call. It could be a Facebook Messenger call. So there are a couple of things you are going to be doing. And if you don't do these things, then you are going to create resistance and push the sale away from you. You will always project it and it will come out in your tonality. If your only focus is going to be on closing that client at that time or getting the sale done, then you are going to be creating resistance. You may very well close the sale, but it's going to be lucky. But you are a much higher chance that your buyer is going to get buyer's remorse. Have you ever experienced it when you've closed a deal? They're giving you a yes, but then you do feel some resistance and they come back to you in a day or so and back out of the deal. It's all about your posture, as you can see on the screen. So here are two things that you want to do, and these will put you in the right state. What we think determines how we feel. What we feel determines our actions. Our actions determine our outcomes, and our outcomes form our beliefs and values. You would have already experienced this. Has there ever been a time where you're on absolute fire and you're closing deals left, right, and centre, and then there's other times when you can't even close the fridge door? Trust me, it happens to us all at some point. You start panicking, as in you've had 12 no's in a row, and it all comes down to state. So, how do you put yourself in the right state? Or a better term is, how would you put yourself in the most resourceful state for you to get clients? There are two things. One is posture. So, posture, as you can see in front of you, let's imagine you're an online business. You are working with me. You are a client of mine. You're working Renova Growth Momentum one-to-one coaching, and the price is £199 a week. So let's imagine we're working together and you are giving me that £199 a week. How does that make you feel? You may say it's too cheap or it's too expensive. So let's imagine you're working with me, pay me that £199 a week, and I'll be very grateful for that, as it's going to be paying some of my bills, provide me with some food. But let's be brutally honest about it. Is it going to change my life? It won't, right? But it's still a nice thing to have. But if I work with you and help you add maybe, let's say, 5K a week to your business, is that going to change your life in return? With this 5K, additional 5K in your business, is that going to transform your life? It's a huge transformation, right? So who gets the better end of the deal? You do. So you get the transformation. You get to transform your business. So that's exactly what posture is all about. It's understanding that you, the client, gets the better end of the deal. And this is how all your relationships should be, to make them work. I want to make sure that my partner gets the better end of the deal. My clients or whoever I'm dealing with, they always must be the one that win. So just remember, do you have more control on what you give or what you get? So what you do to create this posture is every time I'm about to join a Zoom meeting or maybe a call for the first time, I'm thinking, how can I serve? How can I serve this person? How can I serve them better? For example, this workshop's been created for free. I'm not going to be selling to you in any way at all, but what I want to do is help you and serve you. So when you get on the call, most people are thinking, oh, I hope they just say yes, or I want to get this deal, or they're thinking about the script they're using. And it's completely the wrong way to think, as people just don't care. Your client or your prospect out there will only care about three things, and that is, one, do you care? Two, can you help them? Three, can they trust you? They don't care about the script or your process in any way at all. So don't get caught in the process and instead put all your focus on serving them. So get on a call and think, how can I serve them? How can I find out what their problems are and how can I help them? How can I find out what their dreams are and bridge the gap between where they are right now, their reality, and their dreams? That's how you get yourself in the state. And when you're on the call, now just remember, if you do get nervous speaking to new people or selling, or maybe this might be public speaking, it's because you care. There's nothing wrong with this in any way at all. It's because you're focusing on what you can get from them, from this call, from the speaking engagement, where at the end of it, you want to be focused on what you can be giving them. So, number one is posture, as you can see. Now, number two, I like a good anagram. So anyone who knows me will know this as well. So let's talk about pie philosophy. So pie philosophy is passion, intensity, and energy. So if you want people to take action, then you have to create some urgency. The key to creating urgency is to get them excited. So that's how the best way to get someone excited is to be excited yourself. We've all been tried to be salted by someone who sounds really monotone and is really bored and it's not taking much interest. How does it make you feel? Exactly. It just makes you turn off. You've got to be excited yourself. And in that case, you've got a chance of getting them excited at the same time. So how do you get yourself excited, you ask? Thank you. I'm glad you asked the question. Well, there's two ways. You can change your voice and then change your philosophy, like I did just then. So by changing my tone of voice, you can hear I'm speaking that a little bit quicker, and I'm talking louder as well. You don't have to come across as being crazy, absolutely, but just, remember, you've always got to be authentic. This is how you're going to increase your conversion rates, the power of the pie philosophy. Now, again, I've said it already a couple of times. I'm going to repeat it throughout the whole session. Remember to be yourself, be authentic. However you normally talk, just increase the tone, speak louder, speak faster. My suggestion is in the close is to stand up and walk around. I know I've had a few of you around this before, but if you're on a mobile, you're on a Zoom call, you've got a headset on, you can stand up and move around, be free. What's going to happen by doing this is that you're going to increase your heart rate. You're going to increase blood flow of oxygen around the brain, which is going to help the whole process and empower this state for you. So especially when you want to get people excited, you want them to take action, pie philosophy is the most powerful way I know that's going to help you. So always remember, passion, intensity, energy. So next time you're about to get on a call, remember how you can serve that person. And then when you change your mindset, it is everything. So, presenting mastery. We've got 4 points to cover now. Everyone focus on closing the deal, but not enough thought or training is given to the way we present. The number one focus of presenting is to remove any possible concerns so that when we do ask the closing questions, they are ready to go. So, how do we do this? There are four main factors, as you can see. The one thing I'll add at this point is you always need to be qualifying the opportunity before you jump on a call with people. And the better you get at qualifying, the better your conversion rate is going to be. So you can see on the screen, number one, start building your relationship. Ask questions. How are you? What have you done the weekend? What's your family situation, etc. Think about form. So, yep, you've guessed it. Here we go again. So form, friends and family. Occupation. What is it that you do exactly? Your relationships. Let's understand what's going on in your life. And then finally, the M is message and money. So if you are a structured kind of person, then you're going to really like this and get a lot out of it. The key here is that you've got to connect with the person. You know, when you start talking to someone and you know there's going to always be some resistance there at the beginning, there's an imaginary wall there building up. So all you're doing is you're waiting for that moment when you hear the wall disappearing. And you can pick this up from their tonality. You may be able to see it from body language. It's also important that you don't move on to step 2 of presenting mastery, which I'll come to next, until this wall is broken. Otherwise, you're going to simply leave the prospect behind and you've lost them already. So you have to talk to them, take them on a journey, ask them questions. We ask the question, we listen. We then ask more questions, we listen. Listen to tonality that you pick up from their voice. Anyone who knows me, I will always try and make them laugh in the first 60 seconds. Well, 30 seconds if I can. So, next, goals. What are the goals they want to achieve? So here we're talking about the 4 W's, the what, the when, the where, the why. So what is it you want to achieve? When do you want to achieve it by? Where do you want to achieve this? And why do you want to achieve these goals? So next thing you're going to learn is we ask and then we stack and add. So you ask a question, you answer, and then we stack and add. So the question could be, why is it you want to grow the revenues in your business to 1.5 million? Oh, okay, great. So you agree with them, no problem at all. We can definitely help you with that. And that's the next question. So why do you want to grow your business to 1.5 million? Why is that so important for you? And all we're doing is we're stacking and adding. We ask questions, we agree we can help, we ask more further probing questions. All of the time, what we're doing is we are building our credibility and also our stature. There are no opportunities at this point for any resistance. There's no opportunities to butt heads with them, and there's no opportunity not to connect. We've already connected with them, so we're just building on this. We're asking questions all the time. We're gathering further information from them. And I have to say, the better you are at asking questions, the more deals you are going to close. It's as simple as that. The one thing you'll find all the way through this is the more you do it, the better you get, the better success rate you're going to get. So step 3, presenting mastery, is creating pain and pleasure. What you've got to do at this point is create a massive gap between the pleasure and pain. You've got to create so much pain that if they don't achieve it, that will bring in extreme pain to them in the future. And when they do achieve it, they do achieve this goal, then they're going to experience massive, tremendous pleasure in the future. And the bigger the chasm or the gap between the two that you can create, the more likely they are going to become a client of yours. So you then connect, what's really important is that you then connect you and your services and products to the pleasure and connect, they're not working with you with the pain. So I've got a list of questions here that I ask for my scripts. And again, I shall be sharing my scripts with you all later. So these questions are, he's taking a quick drink. Okay. So these questions are, why is it so important for you to achieve what you want in the next 6 to 12 months? What would it really mean for you to achieve this? How will you feel in 6 months if you are still exactly where you are right now? But how would you feel if you had the right support and guidance and did achieve this, what you wanted in the next 6 to 12 months? Finally, if you keep doing exactly what you've been doing up until this point, do you think you're going to get to where you want to go? This is where creating that pain and pleasure is so important. So let's recap steps 1 and 2. So you've got to think about connection, goals, and then we're creating pain and pleasure. Now, let's talk about manipulation. So I've put on the front, you can see on the screen what manipulation definition is for the Oxford English language. The act of manipulating something in a skillful manner, or the act of manipulating someone in a clever or unscrupulous way. This is where you've got to be careful. People will cry that it's manipulation, and it can have negative connotations around the word manipulation. So I can't show you right now, but I'm taking a sip of tea here out of a flask. So if I rotate the cup in my hand, I am manipulating the liquid, the tea inside the cup. Manipulation itself is a neutral word, but people do give it meaning. So I'm impacting the tea inside the cup because I'm impacting it. My actions are changing the direction of the tea. So manipulation isn't bad, but it does all depend on our intent, which is a whole different conversation we're not going to have right now. It's up to us to ask the right questions, to empower people to delve into their unconsciousness that they can extract from their conscious. Why is it so important to them? Why they are really broke or maybe not sleeping? What is it that's affecting them? People tend to use protective mechanisms, get my words out, to sweep stuff under the rug and so they can bypass it and pretend it's not a real bad situation in their life. And this is also why lots of people use sarcastic humor out there. Sure, you can't think of anyone. So that's creating pain and pleasure, and that's manipulation. So lastly, number 4 is the call to action, or C to A. So you call to action if it's a first consult. So for me, I always recommend doing 2 consults. If you're coaching or you're selling something of a higher value, you want to be doing 2 consultations, maybe a lot of 30 minutes. So if it's your first one, you may want to give them a small exercise to do to confirm their intention and check if they are firmly committed to what you're looking to offer them. If it's a sales call or it's a second consult, then it's the close that you're looking. That's your call to action. It's that close. So the next one, we're going to talk about BAM FAM. Book a meeting from a meeting. You always want to be taking the next step from what you're doing today. So we're having a session now, great. Let's book in, let's connect again next Tuesday, 10 o'clock, bang. Always BAM FAM, book a meeting from a meeting. So closing like a pro. We've got them warmed up. We're talking them through our offer. Now we're going to talk about closing. So this is my favorite part of the sales process. Everything that you've been doing up until this point has been building to this moment. You've used form, you've been relationship building, you've asked all the questions. This is where a lot of people flip out, they crumble. Now, there are 2 parts to this. But also think about, what if you never had to ask a closing question? Would this be good for you? Would you like this? If we put the other person in a position where they had to ask you a question instead, and you get to choose exactly who you are working with, this will be ideal, right? So the truth is that I don't sell anymore. I interview instead. So if I ever get on a call with you, I would never sell to you, but instead I'll be interviewing you and questioning you to determine if we are going to be a good fit. It's got to be a 2-way thing, but also whether if I will work with you. So when you can do this, you get to the point where you can truly determine who you want to work with. I'm going to show you how to do this again I've been doing this for a while. I think a lot of you on here today, whether you're watching it live or with the recording, are going to find this extremely powerful. So I'm also going to show you some ways you can use your tonality to enhance and increase your ability, and to most importantly, to increase your conversion rates. So the first thing to discuss here is that when it comes to closing questions, a lot of people will freak out. They fail. So in your head, you're thinking, I'm asking for the money. You're going to get nervous because this is where we're trying to close. This is going to come across the other party. It's going to be loud and clear that you are not confident. They're going to be able to smell it a mile away. People who want to buy from people who they can trust and people who they know can help them tackle the problem they've got, as you can see. Now, there are two ways to close. So you're on a call and you've used your form. Now, if you're following my scripts, and again, I've said already, I will be sharing my scripts with you in the next 24 hours or so, and hopefully that helps you get started. You've scheduled a follow-up call for them within 48 to 72 hours later. Use BAMFAM. Whenever you have that second call, you're going to reform again. You're going to reconnect with that person. You're going to use the 4 W's again. You're asking the same questions again and re-establishing their goals, creating pain and pleasure. So now your call to action, your CTA from this whole engagement is you are going to close. You are looking to close them. So it could be, I recommend you invest X amount of pounds in my course, which is called Why. I recommend that you show them, because seeing is believing, right? We all believe what we see. People want to be shown and not told. So I highly recommend you use a visual aid at this point and you show them exactly what they are going to be getting. These visual aids are really, really good because it focuses the person, the prospects, on your offer rather than you. And these are really, really powerful. There's a few of my one-to-one clients on here, and some of you have made your visual aids already. Others of you have been tackling them quite quickly. This is going to help you. This one step is going to help you close a stack more. So this is a conversation you could be having with a potential client. I know you're going to benefit from my monthly coaching program, as you will get X, Y, and Z from it. How does that look? So the question you could be asking now are things like, what are you most excited about my coaching course? Be passionate in however they respond to you. That's amazing. Now, if I choose to work with you, you have 2 options. Now, closing, I always want to have 2 options. And again, this is called a double bind. You always have 2 options available, an easy or an advanced option. So option 1 is a weekly installment of just £198 a week for a minimum of 6 months, or you've got an upfront option, which is £2,197, which is the easier for you. So a couple of suggestions here is to use things like yes sets. So what we mean by a yes set is you're asking a group of questions that are going to be your prospect or your person you're speaking to is always going to be answering yes from. So always use yes sets. So you want to grow your business. Is this correct? Yes. You want to smash the 500K annual revenues. Is this correct? Yes. Can you see how having a coach for the next 6 months is going to fast track your results? Yes. So what you're looking for at this point, your yes sets, you're looking for those 3 to 4 yeses here. You have gone through the process, you've shown them the program, you've followed the script, and you're asking the closing questions. So here's an example. I've shown you the program. You can see the 8 to 12 things. What did you like most about the program? So what you're hearing here is for them to sell your program, your offer back to you. I like the support. Great. So we're being positive again. How do you think my program is going to help you the most? Each time you ask the question, you become quiet. Let them answer. Don't answer for them. It's very, very important. So I'm getting them to tell me exactly what it is they like about my program. They're selling it to me. So how important is it for you to get to the 500K? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this goal for you? Now you have 2 options, weekly or advance payment. Which is the easier one for you? And this is how they're going to choose. Now, if you don't have two options or a double bind, my favorite question is, do you have any further questions or are you ready to get started? Do you see if you change the tone and the way you're asking these questions, it helps. Now, whenever you ask this, there are two ways. There are the two things you want to be doing. Now, again, my camera's not on, but you want to be nodding. So as you're asking them a question, do you have any further questions or are you ready to get started? You want to be nodding your head at the same time and also smiling. You get your 3 yes sets, you nodding and smiling. And I have to agree, if you're doing it and you're not doing it naturally or you're doing it in practicing, it does look a little bit creepy. I get it, but trust me, it really works. Always think when you're asking these questions, you're nodding and you're smiling. Now, I've mentioned it already, it's silent. You don't want to talk and let them talk. This silence will make them feel slightly awkward. It's going to increase their heart rate and make them feel something. People make decisions based on emotion and justified logic. Then they will say, it's going to be yes or no. Now, we know that 80% of the time, if you have followed the process, people are going to say no, or they're going to hit you with an objection. This is what we're going to come to in the next section, so don't worry about that. This is the first way to do it. Now, I can't tell you enough to stop selling and start interviewing clients or prospective clients always. I do not sell. I ask, are you in? Do you want to join me? Now, quick bit of bonus training. Every time you ask a question, it can lead to a no answer. 75% of the time, people are going to say no. You are giving them the chance to say no. So always ask a question that leads to a yes answer, and also double bind that I've described just. Would you like to book an appointment? Is a killer in this coaching business. Now, that was option one. Option two is great, but you need to have more confidence. So it's not something I recommend you use straight away. But this is how we do it using 3 questions. You consult, you follow up. So you go through your visual aid all over again, you end the presentation, you must, I can't stress to you how important it is that you have your visual aid. So this is how you do it, option 2. Now, if I choose to work with you, this is how it's going to work. You do need masses of confidence for this approach. I get it. I will share how the next 6 to 12 months is going to look like for you when we're working together. And then you got some questions like, what do you like about my coaching program? And again, we're listening, I like X. So if I do choose to work with you, what you're doing is you're flipping the power dynamic. It's going to be the price. If it's the price is the objection here. I made you a deal. So normally the price is going to be X, but if I do choose to work with you, I will give it you at Y. And Y could be that they're a new business, they're a new setup, or someone you want to work with who just needs that support if it's a coaching example. But the next question, however, before I do determine if we will work together, I have got 3 questions for you. Question 1, if I do choose to work with you, are you going to be coachable? Are you going to turn up to work and not moan? And excuse me, you're going to GSD, get shit done. Excuse me. Question 2, do you have the desire to succeed no matter how long it takes? Number 3, do you have the mental toughness? Do you have the mental toughness to continue until you win if I choose to work with you? Do not ever be scared to turn people down if they're not a good fit for you. If they're not a good fit for you, it's never going to work truly well in the long term. Now, one last question. If I am to give you one last chance to convince you you're the right fit for my coaching program, what are you going to say? Very, very important at this point now is that you shut up and let them speak. Now, again, you're forcing them to respond. They're going to be a little bit nervous. They're going to increase that heart rate. And again, if we ask people the questions, remember that people are buying on emotion and also justified logic. After they speak, pause for another 5 to 10 seconds. It makes it awkward, I get it, but then you can say, I 100% believe in you and know we can do some awesome stuff together. Do you have any more questions or are you ready to get started? And again, I'm nodding and smiling away. Now, send them the link. These could be your T's and C's. It could be a document you want to sign. Do that now while they're on the call, they're on the Zoom session with you. This is where so many people go wrong because they just do not take immediate action. Do not get off the call, the Zoom meeting, until you've got your signed paperwork or you've used your payment link. And again, as I said already, this is probably the most important thing you're going to learn from this workshop is get them to take immediate action. But as I'm saying, always be authentic and don't work with people you don't want to work with or connect with. You also can't use this strategy to manipulate people in the wrong way. So let's move on. Overcoming objections. Right, I'm going to take a quick drink. Okay, I'm back. So overcoming any objections. So there are two strategies to use to overcome any objections. I'm sure we all know how frustrating it can be when you hit objection after building up a rapport and a relationship with a person over a period of time. There are always three options they're going to answer. And these are yes, no, or they're going to hit you with an objection. I have to say, in all the years of coaching, I've never had anyone say no to me. So someone will say yes, or 80% are going to, some of them are always going to say yes to you, but 80% will present you with an objection at this point. Again, when you get better at questions and that relationship building, you will come down to producing less and less objections. So what are the biggest objections you're going to come across? Number one, always going to be money. I can't afford it. I need to check the budget. It's just too expensive. This is going to be the biggest reason you ever hear, objection you ever hear. Next, you're going to hear time. I just don't have the time. We're busy. We're working on stuff. You know, I don't have the time to do this right now. There's going to be a delay. I need some time to think about it. I want to have a think about it. I want to go and mull it over. Or number four, I want to talk about it with my partner. This is the dready one. This is the one that most people are going to struggle to overcome. So those are the four main objections you're going to hear. Okay, coffee fit over. I am back. Now, it is totally natural that you are going to get objections. The number one reason people don't buy is that they just aren't asked in the first place. So don't fall into this trap. Always be asking for the business. If you close 10 people, you get 10 people onto a close, 8 are going to give you an objection. You're going to get 2 who are probably going to say yes, 8 are going to come back with an objection. But don't just think that if a person gives you an objection, it doesn't mean a no. And in fact, more often than not, you haven't asked the right questions. And as I said already, you are going to get better and better at this process. So whenever you get an objection or any resistance, don't take it as a no, because all you're going to do is shut them down. I'll ask them again to continue and to confirm the objection. So the objection, it's pretty expensive. My response will be, you're right, it is pretty expensive. Do you have any other questions or are you ready to get started? Or if they say, I just don't have the time, my response will be, I understand, we are all busy, but do you have any other questions or are you ready to get started? And again, I'm nodding, I'm smiling. I need to talk to my partner. So my response is, I respect that. And I probably want to do exactly the same thing. But do you have any other questions or are you ready to get started? So whenever they give you an objection, you're testing them for the validity. So many people just respond with what's in their head without even thinking about it and will still move forward pretty damn quickly. Remember, the awkward silence, the awkward pause. I want to think about it. So my response is, I understand. But right now, do you have any other questions or are you ready to get started? Wait for them to talk. Let them talk first. I don't think I can afford it. I get it. My response is, it's pretty expensive, but this is life change, isn't it? Nodding, smiling. Anyway, do you have any more questions or are you ready to get started? If you then get a second knockback, often they'll come back with something different. And all you're doing is you're exposing another objection. All you've got to do is just overcome that objection. And again, any other questions or you're ready to get started? If at this point now they repeat the first objection, this is now raising itself to you as a legitimate objection. So, two ways to deal with this at this point here are the 3 F's. And the 3 F's are feel, felt, or found. So the objection is, I don't know if I can afford this. My response is, I totally know how you feel. I have another client, Rob, who felt exactly the same as you, but what we found was by getting past the first month, he doubled his investment. Do you have any further questions or are you ready to get started? So a couple of things this will tackle during the next chapter with downsells. There's a couple of things you can do around the financial side of the objectives, but again, we're going to come onto that in the next section. Whenever you get a money objection and you've tested for the validity, then I want to be able to offer them another deal at a lower price. Now, the first thing I'm not saying is here, I want to be discounting it or lowering your margins, but what I'm going to do is offer them another product. This could be, for example, if it's one-to-one coaching, they can't afford the one-to-one coaching, then I will downsell them into a group coaching offer. So now you're using drop sales, and this is going to help you just double your conversion rates. It is that powerful. A lot of people just want to say no. So always having 2 options, a money drop sale deal with time, dead easy. So whenever I get an objection, first thing you have to do is isolate that objection. So for example, if I can't afford it, you agree with them. But besides the money, is there anything else holding you back from moving moving forward or getting started? So what you're doing is isolating the objection. So if you were to find the £200 a week you need to afford the coaching, where would you find this? Where would you earn this from? Or it could be, if you could cut back on something worth £200 a week right now, what would that be? So you've isolated it, you've negated it, you've also asked them a question to make them resourceful to find a solution for themselves. So if it's time, is there anything apart from time that's holding you back right now? If you could find additional time, where would you be able to find it? Double bind and drop sales will be really, really powerful here. They're going to be your friends. If the response is, I want to think about it, okay, I respect this. Always agree with them. It is a big decision. Is there anything else holding you back? So what you're doing is you're negating any other objections at this point. Can I ask you what specifically you need to think about? 99% of the people will then give you a response, one of the other 3 reasons, either money, time, or maybe partner. 50% of the responses are going to be about money. So we've already covered the money response, use those previous objections. Asking these questions are helping them to be resourceful, to empower them to tackle and overcome their problems. And as a coach, it's exactly what I do. It's as easy to me as if you invest £200 a week, I can convert that into £5,000 a week in the next 6 months or so. So the ROI is crazily massive. And this is why it's important that you only deal with business owners, as I do in my industry. So if they say, I want to talk to my partner, specify if it's just the time. So how long do you need? And then bam, bam, again, you book a call. If it's going to be, you're going to talk to them tonight, let's book a call in tomorrow or a week or whatever that's going to be. Use the posture again. Don't worry, it makes no difference with me. You're not going to say to people, but in your mind, you're thinking it's going to make no difference to you There are plenty of people who need your services. So how much time do you need? Okay, let's book it in. So you can give me a yes or no answer. It's as easy as that. You know, you're not hanging them on the edge of a cliff for an answer, but you're being quite relaxed about it. The posture is there. You know this is going to mean much more to them than it is to you. You've got plenty of other people to speak to. So if you get the partner objection, I completely get that. Is there anything else holding you back right now? When are you going to talk to your partner? Okay, let's book you in. That's absolutely fine. Or you may find that you want to talk to both people together. You want to speak to both of the people in the relationship together. That's fine. When can we chat together? It happens. The only way you will close more high ticket sales is through calls, by speaking to more people. Now, if it's a no, get a referral. Now, tell me, if you've got a no, you've got 2 no's, 3 no's. Now tell me, who else do you know who is actively looking to grow their business right now? Their first response is always going to be, I just don't know. Now, always test them on that. So, the next question is, if you whip out your smartphone right now and choose one person from your contact list, who would that be? Whenever you get a no, always ask for referrals. The more you do tackle objections, the better. Okay, so wrapping on, not too much longer. The power of upsells, downsells, and referrals. We've already covered the referrals to a degree. So we've touched on this a couple of times already. This is where tons of business owners go wrong, and it's not using these strategies. This is going to help you close more deals. You always need more than your one main offer. You need multiple products or services and creating your value ladder. Now, I have to we're not going to cover value ladder in this session today, but that will be in any future workshops. So the purpose of upselling is to maximize profit margins. When is the best time to make a sale? Well, it's always straight after you've already made your first sale. The purpose of downselling is to increase your conversion rates. The reason you upsell is to increase your margin. Now, just think, if you only have one product, like one-to-one coaching program, for example, then you only have one solution to maybe a couple of different problems. But what if the prospect isn't ready to order right now? Especially if you're moving to selling more and more online, the sales cycle can be way, way longer than offline sales. And this is a massive problem right now. Online marketers are marketing to people they believe are ready to order right now, and they just aren't ready. You're watching this workshop right now. You may become a client of ours in the future, or you may never become a client of ours ever. But if you do, it may be 3 months away, or it could be 12 months' time. You have to market to people that will be ready in the future. And it's the same with selling. Your one program isn't enough. You need to have more options, more solutions. The more products, the more likely you are to be able to close more deals. So let's say you've got a coaching program. We've talked about it before. It's £198 a week. Do you have any other questions, or are you ready to get started? Yes, they're in. Boom. Amazing. Well done. You've closed them. That person is excited and ready to join, but you haven't tried to upsell that person. So the old example I always use is McDonald's. McDonald's has been out there for years and years and years. What do? You buy a Big Mac from them. They are wanting to upsell you to a large meal. They used to offer, 10, 15, 20 years ago, the offer was, you want fries with that. Now, the reality is everyone's buying fries. Very few people go in and buy a burger on their own. They're buying fries all together. They're buying a drink, they're buying a meal, they're buying a deal. So what they want to do is they want to make that meal large. They're looking to upsize you. It's really, really clever upselling, because the margin they make on that is triple, quadruple, 10 times what they're making already. So what is your upsell on your high ticket offer going to be? But first, before we go into that any further, let's tackle downselling or drop sales. So you get the money objection. It's going to be the biggest thing you hear. I've mentioned that a few times. Once you've tested the validity of the objection and you've isolated it, you're still facing the money objection. 50% of people with objections will have this. So what about if I half it for you? I'll drop the cost by 50% to just £99 a week, and I'll drop you into our next group coaching package. You actually get more time with me, and you will still meet every week, and you'll still get everything else that you saw in the program. How does that sound to you? Again, remember, we're nodding, we're smiling. Now, If they still can't afford this, I tell you what, I've got an 8-week online coaching program for just £98, one-off payment. Can you make this happen? I personally love offering one-to-one coaching, but then if they can't afford that, then I'll drop them down. So £198 a week will drop down to £99 for group coaching, or £99 for one-off 8-week online training package. If they've got no money at all, and you're going to face this from time to time, whatever you're selling, whatever niche you're in, maybe have a free ebook that you can get them started. You're still serving them and you're helping them on their journey, but they're not quite ready at this time now to give you any money. If you can, get them to part with some sort of money as a first transaction, no matter how small it is. Don't be scared to sell them something, maybe £10 even. It could be a book, it could be a simple one-off workshop. Once you've served them, it's easy to upsell them at a later stage. They know you, they trust you, they like what you're doing. So you need to think about what is your would you like fries with that offer going to be. Once you have all of this in place, you are going to kill it. You're going to maximize your profit margins, maximize your conversions, and you are going to be working with the right sort of clients that you know, like, and love. So that's it. What I'm going to do is, I've said already, I'm going to send you copies of the scripts across. I will send you a copy of this recording. I'm amazed I've got it down to 55 minutes, which is perfect. Please join my VIP Facebook group. So as you can see, Minerva Growth Momentum VIP group. Track it down on Facebook. Request access and I'll get you in there straight away. Now, what I want to hear from you is write in the chat, what is your biggest takeaway? Now, I can see there's lots of chat messages there. I've not had a chance to look at them as yet, so I'm going to quickly go through. No sugar, very funny. Chin for me, absolutely not a 4 o'clock though. I did think it might be over an hour, but I've turned it down in 55 minutes. Plus, I got recorded, so if anyone needs to drop off, by all means, drop off. I'm glad to hear, Glenn, you're full of pie. So what about people say yes, but they need to go away and get a budget signed off? Absolutely. Great question. Bam, fam. Book a meeting from a meeting. Ask them, how long do you need to go away and get it signed off for? What's that process going to look like? The more information you've got, knowledge is power. Implementation and knowledge is always more powerful. But then find out, what's that process going to look like? How long do you need? Get them booked in. I've got to check in with X, Y, and Z. It's my biggest objection. Yeah, I hear it all day long. Book a follow-up session, book a follow-up consultation or that other call and get X, Y, and Z in on that conversation. Absolutely. I've had people say yes, but then still not actually end up closing. This is where you want to try and get them to take action straight away. So remember, we talked about whether they can sign up to your T's and C's, you can get them to give you a deposit, get them to take action there and then. Getting them through the process properly, that buyer's remorse, you can dispel it quite easily by asking the right questions and overcoming their objections. Yep, Glenn, I like that. Prior to proposal meetings, I always ask, are there any other decision makers you need to bring with you should you wish to proceed there and then? I like that. That's great. Yeah, great. Thanks, Glenn. I like that. Asking for referrals. I think it's something we should all do. When someone knows your service, your product, 99, so many times they're going to turn you down because of price. They just can't afford it then. If you can get some sort of transaction out of them, but if you can even better get a small transaction out of them and get a referral to someone else, then happy days. Absolutely. I like that, Steph. Thank you. There is a process you can follow so it isn't scary, and it shouldn't be scary. Oh, cool. Thank you, Lisa. I like that as well. Give us gain. So a lot of you I'm looking on here. Actually, no, they're not actually. BNI is a business networking international. Their philosophy is very much about give us gain. They've nicked it. They didn't come up with it in the first place. And I think if you can go into how you can serve people and help people, not ever looking for anything for yourself, then you know what? It works. It comes back to you. So cool. Bam, fam. Are you upselling and downsending? Thank you, Ben. I like that. Okay, well, thank you all very much for your time. You've all been very proactive and asking questions along the way. If anyone's got any questions, I've got a couple of minutes. I'm more than happy to hang back. And if you've got any other questions, I will be dropping you all, as I said, the recording, copies of my scripts. We'll have an opportunity there. We can have a catch up. If you've got any questions, by all means, that's great. Hey, anyone else? Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of the day, wherever you are, whatever you're up to. In the UK, it's still a bit of daylight for the next 45 minutes or so, so I might even go out and get some fresh air. Guys, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining in me this afternoon. Thank you so much for being committed and being so responsive and getting involved. I look forward to connecting with you all in the very near future. Thank you all. I look forward to seeing you soon.